This module will focus more on behavior as we continue the psychological profiling course. Behavior is the universal language and foundation to criminal investigative analysis. It's an expression of our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions. Behavior can be viewed in a number of ways. There is acceptable behavior, and there is criminal behavior. Now, the frustrating thing is that deviant behavior is not acceptable in many cases, and it may not be criminal in some cases. And so it becomes important that we understand the difference in whether we're dealing with deviant or criminal behavior. So on this continuum of what's normal or standard or acceptable, we really start paying closer attention to those things that deviate outside of that standard, normal, acceptable, or standard. The forms of behavior are communicated in three ways: verbal, nonverbal, and sexual. In every criminal act, there is one of these forms of behavior. It may be that there are several exhibited in the course of this. When you looked at the BTK case, for instance, you will see that there is all three: verbal, nonverbal, and sexual behavior. The conduct of the suspects and us, our conduct, is the true mirror of our belief system. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there's one really important thing to come out of the study of this, and that is that in order for us to understand what type of interview process we should use in dealing with individuals who commit crimes, we need to understand where on this hierarchy of needs the individual resides. For instance, it would not make sense to try to deal with someone at a level of self-actualization when the motivation for their crime was safety or belonging and love. So spend some time trying to understand Maslow as you search and study in this particular module. There are 14 human motivators that you will study, and they are listed here. And rather than me read these individually, you will go through a process of looking at and trying to understand how those may pertain to different kinds of crimes. The important thing to remember here is that all of us, including criminals, are in pursuit of legitimate kinds of needs. For instance, number 3, financial security and success. Or number 7, belonging to a place or a group. The difference between those of us who continue to try to live within the social norm and those who deviate and get involved in criminal or psychopathic personality characteristics is simply this: they are in pursuit of legitimate needs through illegitimate means. To continue that list, and again, you'll study these in detail. There are influencing factors on behavior. Those influencing factors could be biological, experiential, and situationally induced. Each of those will be explored in detail. And then, of course, there are components of personality that take us back to the studies of Freud when we talked about ego and superego and the id, and what the person's personality is in each of these areas, or in one that seems to take a predominant role. When you think about the criminals that commit most of these crimes and their psychopathic personality types, we see these kinds of personality characteristics. They're glib, they have no remorse, they have no empathy. Again, you'll study these in detail. They're reactive and impulsive. They are irresponsible. The chameleon is the best example of the sociopath or psychopathic personality trait and the criminals that we deal with in violent interpersonal crime. perhaps just remembering the word chameleon and these keywords will help you to better define these types of individuals. In this study, we're going to look at crime in almost a backward way, or going backwards. So from the point in which the crime is committed and the behavior is shown either verbally, non-verbally, or sexually, this is a result of the precipitating stressors that lead to finally committing that crime. Those precipitating stressors can be triggered by events that are happening in our lives, and those events and triggers are compelled by our feelings and emotions, which become a part of our self-esteem and then fit within Maslow's hierarchy of needs of where we stand and into our personal perceptions and belief window. So as you think about criminal behavior, try to think backwards, because we're starting at the crime scene and working back to understand the type of perpetrator that would commit such a crime. I hope this helps you as you study this module.